Cosmological argument. Everything has a cause, so the universe also has a cause. But the universe cannot be the cause of itself, so something outside of the universe caused it. It can only be God who caused the universe. Ontological argument. Think about the greatest thing possible. Nothing is greater than the God by definition, so this thing is God. Something that exists is greater than something that doesn't exist, so God exists. The argument from design. Every difficult mechanism has a designer that created it. Something random like a hurricane can't create something difficult like a watch. Humans are extremely difficult, so they must have been created by someone. The Big Bang. The universe started with the Big Bang, but it couldn't appear from nothing. Something outside the universe created it. Fine-tuning of physical constants. There are a lot of physical constants that could have any value, but the life is possible only with the constants that are in our universe. It is infinitesimally unlikely. So someone fine-tuned this constants for life to be possible. Beauty of physical laws. Scientists use aesthetic principles like simplicity and symmetry to discover laws of nature. So laws of nature are intrinsically and objectively beautiful. That means laws of nature were created by someone. Cosmic coincidences. The universe contains many uncanny coincidences that are extremely improbable. For example, moon and sun have the same diameter, so eclipses can be possible. The overwhelmingly low probability means that someone arranged these uncanny cosmic coincidences. Personal coincidences. Many people experienced uncanny coincidences in their lives, like old friend calling when you're thinking of him. So the God arranged these coincidences. Answered prayers. Sometimes people pray, and against enormous odds their calls are answered. The odds of the beneficial event happening are enormously slim, so it was God who answered the prayers. Wonderful life. Sometimes people who are lost in life find their way. These people could not have known the right way on their own, so it was God who helped lost souls. Miracles. We have a multitude of written and oral reports of miracles. The best explanation for why there are so many reports testifying to the same thing is that the reports are true, so it was God who performed the miracles. The hard problem of consciousness. Simply put, the question is, how can humans have subjective experiences? Science will never answer this question, so the only answer is that God inserted a spark of the divine into us. The improbable self. I could have been any being possible, but why out of all the things I could have been, I am exactly this? Only something outside the world, who cares about me, can answer this question. Survival after death. There are people who have experienced near-death situations and testified that they saw glimpses of a passage to another world, so immaterial soul exists. Inconceivability of personal annihilation. It is impossible to conceive what it would be like not to exist. What cannot be conceived cannot be, so people survive after death and immaterial soul exists. Moral truths. There are objective moral truths. The only way to explain their existence is God. Altruism. People often act altruistically. Natural selection can never favor true altruism. God is the only force outside of natural selection that could intend us to be moral. Personal purpose. If there is no purpose to a person's life, then that person's life is pointless. Human life cannot be pointless. Only God could understand the overall purpose of creation. Intolerability of insignificance. It is intolerable that in 1,000,000 years, nothing that happens now will matter. What happens now will matter in 1,000,000 years. But it is only from the point of view of eternity that what happens now will matter even in 1,000,000 years. Only God can inhabit the point of view of eternity. Consensus of humanity. Every culture and every epoch has had theistic beliefs. The best explanation for why every culture has had theistic beliefs is that those beliefs are true. Consensus of mystics. There is a unanimity among mystics as to what they experience. There is no reason to think that mystics are all deluded in the same way. The best explanation for the unanimity of mystical experience is that what mystics perceive is true. Holy books. There are holy books that reveal the Word of God. The Word of God is necessarily true. The Word of God reveals the existence of God. Perfect justice. Our world provides numerous instances of imperfect justice, but there must be a place where perfect justice prevails. Then there must be a perfect judge. The perfect judge is God. Suffering. There is much suffering in this world. There are purposes for this suffering that we cannot understand. Only God could have a sense of purpose to explain this suffering. Survival of the Jews. The Jews introduced the world to the idea of the one God with his universal moral code. The Jews have survived against vast odds. It is God who helped them survive. The upward curve of history. There is an upward moral curve to human history. Left to their own people couldn't have ascended up a moral curve. Only God has the power and the concern for us to curve history upward. Prodigious genius. Genius is the highest level of creative capacity, the level which, by definition, defies explanation. The cause of genius must both lie outside of natural psychological processes and be such as to care about the progress of humankind. So it was God who created geniuses. human knowledge of infinity. Everything in the world is finite, but we have a knowledge of the infinite, demonstrably so in mathematics. Only something itself infinite could have implanted knowledge of the infinite in us, mathematical reality. The truths of our physical world cannot explain mathematical truths. So, mathematical truths exist on a different plane of existence from physical truths. Then only God can explain mathematical truths. Pascal's wager. If God exists and you believe, you receive eternal salvation. But if God doesn't exist, you lose nothing. Then it is more rational to believe in God. Leap of faith. Think how effectiveness of a scientific theory and its practical applications is considered evidence for the truth of the theory. The belief in God is a belief that affects a change for the better in a person's life. So by the same logic, believing in God is evidence for his existence. Unreasonableness of reason. Our belief in reason cannot be justified by reason, since that would be circular. So our belief in reason must be accepted on faith. But we must believe in reason, because otherwise nothing will make sense. By the same logic, we must believe in God. Sublimity. There are experiences that are windows into the wholeness of existence. We glimpse a benign transcendence in these moments. Only God could provide us with a glimpse of benign transcendence, the abundance of arguments. Even though every argument for existence of God is imperfect, there are many of them. For God not to exist, every one of the arguments for his existence must be false, which is extremely unlikely. I am going to make more videos like this, so subscribe for more knowledge.